God, the Devil, and Bob. Or the best bunch of drinking buddies in all of creation. And one of them's the creator. Like the previous 9 in this series, The Critic, this show was an animated series meant for adults. Unlike The Critic, however, this one focused more on religious themes, such as the value of family, the fault of temptation, and society's dangerous descent into sinful living. So naturally, it was cancelled due to a combination of not only low ratings, but pressure from religious activists. Honestly, did they even watch the show? Anyway, in the context of the show, God, voiced by the late James Garner, after seeing all that he has created has fallen into hedonism and depravity, begins toying with the idea of wiping out all of humanity and starting over. The Devil, voiced by Alan Cumming, is thrilled to hear this decision, going so far as to offering God a gift an alarm clock fitted with a snooze alarm until God reveals he's beginning to have second thoughts. In his own words, he's just not that kind of God. To help aid in this decision, God and the Devil place a bet, and God has the Devil assign one person to prove that humanity is worth saving. The Devil chooses one of the patrons at the bar they were currently drinking at, Bob Allman, voiced by French Stewart, an undereducated beer-drinking, porno-watching auto plant worker from Detroit. God readily admits to Bob not being one of his best works, which is reinforced when Bob asks in The Saving of Humanity, what's in it for him? Regardless, God agrees to the wager, effectively making Bob his prophet, the last hope for all of humankind, and occasional drinking buddy to both God and the Devil. The highlights of this show? First off, let's focus on the big guy himself, God. Modeled in design after Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead fame, this interpretation of God is generally laid back and super chill. Imagine the dude from The Big Lebowski, but with the added bonus of divinity and eternal wisdom. Despite his super relaxed mode, though, he's shown to be a complex character, often exasperated with humanity, their poor choices in life, and their large misrepresentation of him. Next, let's focus on the Prince of Darkness, the Devil. A margarita-drinking and neurotic mess, he's often reduced to tears when God ignores him or forgets about something they're meant to do together. He also has an imp-like demon minion named Smek, voiced by Jeff Doucette, of whom he is completely dependent on, but Smek still suffers constant abuse at the Devil's hands. Apparently Robert Downey Jr. was originally cast as the Devil, but relapsed into drug addiction. Wouldn't that have been interesting? Iron Man is the Devil. No, I'm not going to do an impersonation like I did with American Gothic, but let's be honest, it's not that difficult to picture. Next, Bob Allman. Despite his faults, he is shown to have a good heart for the most part, which is exactly what he needs to reinforce the fact that the world is worth saving. Although he may not seem like it, in this context he is the most qualified choice to represent humanity at its best. For instance, although his approach seems half-baked, he is a devoted family man to his otherwise dysfunctional family, among which include Donna, voiced by Laurie Metcalf, his wife and devoted mother to their children, the overly rebellious and selfish 13-year-old Megan, voiced by Nancy Cartwright, and the sweet, good-natured 6-year-old Andy, voiced by Kat Susi. In regards to the cancellation of this show, I don't quite understand it. Oh, I understand the basis of it being a controversial show, but the sources who influenced this show's cancellation? In other words, the religious activists? Folks, I'm religious, being raised in a Christian family. We all pretty much enjoy the show and the themes and messages it conveys, albeit not in an overly obvious sense like in other Christian-based shows. I also much prefer this fictional representation of God as a laid-back and carefree yet kind and wise deity who appreciates the little things in life such as Pop-Tarts over other fictional representations such as George Burns, Morgan Freeman, and Alanis Morissette. I mean, in terms of entering the pearly gates and meeting my creator in person, I'm certainly hoping he's more like the James Garner portrayal. As an easygoing guy you could just sit back, watch some TV, snack, and have some drinks and a few laughs with. I mean, it's pretty much how my relationship with the Almighty goes now. If the show went on, I would have loved to have seen how the character Megan would develop. I mean, outside of the title characters, the real scene stealer is Bob's 13-year-old daughter, and her often antagonistic relationship with her mother. I seriously would have loved to have seen how this would have developed into a more loving relationship. Because the love is there, it just takes a lot of digging into. Also, I would have liked to see how her relationship with her little brother Andy would have developed, namely because they don't have much of one during the show's run. Also, remember last week when I pointed out how Erie, Indiana seemingly influenced another favorite show of mine, Supernatural? Well, in episode 22 of season 11, there's an exchange of dialogue between Chuck, portrayed by Rob Benedict, who we learn is Supernatural's fictional representation of God, and Lucifer, portrayed at this point by Misha Collins, while Sam and Dean are taking on the role of therapists. The dialogue exchange and even the scene is almost as much the same as the final act in episode 4 of God, the Devil, and Bob, The Devil's Birthday, in which Bob has to play a family therapist to both God and the devil to settle their differences. Again, it's always so much fun to catch these vague little references the creators of Supernatural make to an earlier series. In fact, if they ever do remake this series again, I'd hope it be as a spin-off to Supernatural with Rob Benedict as God. Please? Next week on Penguins Rock, the original paranormal investigator and hunter. See you then!